Welcome back, everyone, to another epic day of the 12 epic days of bourbon. We have already shown you some great stuff, and we have another throwback. We have Old Crow, and Old Crow is one of the most significant names in early bourbon history for sure. And I had the opportunity with my wife to actually tour the abandoned Old Crow Distillery on Glens Creek. And I will tell you an interesting story about that, Raj, is Dave, who owns Glens Creek, allowed us to go there to photograph. And my wife loves photography, and we went there, and it was a clear, sunny day, and we toured the facility, and it's just like they left it when they quit producing. They just walked out the door. And so we were in an area that was a little bit eerie, and we were taking pictures, no wind, nothing, a door slammed behind us. And about that time, I told my wife, we're probably going to move along. It was just a little too supernatural for me.
Right.
But it's a great product, and tell me where you found this bottle.
Actually, I'm going to switch on you because there's another Old Crow bottle that's actually even more special to me because I travel for work. And this bottle was made for the travelers back in the day. And this bottle is actually shaped differently than this one. It's thinner. And this was made to so that people could put it in their coat pockets. The top is actually like a shot glass, so they could pour it and drink with it. So Sarah, I switched on you, my friend, but I think this is the one we're gonna pour today.
That's historically significant. It really is. And for those of you who don't know, Old Crow was one of the most in-demand products in the bourbon world.
How dark that is.
It is very dark. And Dr. James Crow is credited with a lot of moving bourbon production to a more scientific area. And he perfected the sour mash process. He made it better. He made sure that he dealt with pH levels and basically elevated, that is really dark.
It is, isn't it?
Really dark. Elevated bourbon and whiskey making. And there's a lot of historical people in the world who were credited with drinking Old Crow. And the one that always comes to mind is General Ulysses S. Grant from the Civil War. You were telling me you read that quote from Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, someone is complaining that Ulysses drinks a lot and maybe is drunk, but Ulysses Grant had a great history of winning battles, and so Lincoln said, "Find me that barrel that he's drinking, because I want to give that to all my generals."
It's a fascinating historical product, and today it doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
Right.
But it was a brand to be reckoned with in the United States for a long time.
It was, and you know, his background, Don, is he graduated in, I think, 1822 from Edinburgh University with a degree in medicine, but he also had a chemist background. And I think he brought those chemist skills and applied them. And I think it was at Glens Creek where he was experimenting, because later then he went from there to Lever and Graham, where he worked under Old Pepper, or
right.
Oscar Pepper at the Old Pepper Distillery. And for those who don't know, but Old Pepper then got sold to Lever Graham, and that's the current day Woodford Reserve Distillery. So back in the day, Crow used to work at that distillery. It was a master distiller. So, cheers.
Cheers. No, that is not today's Old Crow whiskey.
No, this is...
That is really amazing. And now you can understand why it was an in-demand product.
Yeah, this is definitely a little bit... I wouldn't say sweeter, but it's more molassy.
Yeah, it's got molasses.
Yeah.
And like almost burnt sugar a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm getting a little bit of the char, barrel char out of this one.
Trying to look at the proof. So one thing this bottle says, it was distilled in Frankfort, Kentucky, which would really mean this was distilled at current day Glens Creek, but back in the day, Old Crow Distillery. So that was really made over there.
Right. And that's an interesting thing, because if you visit distilleries, like I've made it a habit of doing, so many of them were built on a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
And Glens Creek runs through that area. So you had Old Crow, and down the road you had Castle and Key, which was the original Taylor distillery.
Right.
You really see that happening. Buffalo Trace is right on a river.
Right.
It happens because they all needed water sources. But ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, if you get the chance to visit Glens Creek, which is a very interesting experience, be sure to take a look at the abandoned Old Crow behind. It's just an amazing structure to see. And to the very left of Glens Creek, you also have a series of rick houses owned by Jim Beam, and they had a massive fire there recently. And one of them burned to the ground, which just tells you that this is still a volatile industry.
Right. You know, since I was looking at the way this top is made, because most of them have a narrow neck, this one they had to make it bigger to fit the shot glass concept.
Yep. That is the first time I've ever seen a bottle with that shaped neck, ever.
Yeah. It's a great bourbon.
It really is. That is the beauty of being able to taste these old bottles that literally are a great treat. And Raj, I thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Stay tuned.